of my sissy.
By Hackett. He was the first Fort Worth player to sign with TCU since '94. Parker with the run and jam.
Great pass there. Well, watch this in transition now. Wyoming not really doing a great job of locating, and the one thing you got to do, Linskin, is you got to get back and protect the basket. You got to sprint a little bit harder than that.
Nice feed from Brent Hackett.
Welcome to another segment of the Drexel SEMO show. And with this show, I just want to introduce you to a young man. His name is Alvardo Parker. Alvardo will talk about himself, but I think he has a great story that can inspire many of the young people in the Turks and Caicos Islands, not just Turks and Caicos, but throughout the world. And with that said, I want to officially welcome Mr. Alvardo Parker to the Drexel SEMO show.
Thank you, Mr. Simon, for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes. Well, Alvardo, tell us about yourself. Who is Alvardo Parker?
Alvardo Parker, born and raised on the island of South Caicos, went to the Irish House Primary School, later on to the Margie Basin High School. I'm the father of 3 kids, along with a stepdaughter. I currently work at First Caribbean Bank as a business banking manager. I'm the son of Alvardo Parker, everybody may know as Bob, and Valeria Glinton, known as Leon.
Yes, your mom and I are first cousins. Yes. Of course, I went to the Irish Stars Primary and high school. Of course, it was Gibson High School when I was there. And we didn't have a name for the primary school when I went. But Miss Irish Stubbs was she was my teacher, actually. I brought you on the show because I know you have a great story. You ended up, I know, playing college basketball. Tell us about that experience, how you ended up going to college, and what life was, how you ended up being, because you had great potential. You played against some significant former NBA players. In fact, I think you were about to go in the NBA, but I think you had some injuries. Otherwise, you would have been in the. But before you did it, what is your height? How tall are you?
I am 6'8".
You're 6'8". Ooh. Anyway, tell us about your transition to college. How did you end up in college? What did you major in? And tell us about the basketball, being on the basketball in college basketball.
Okay, so going back, kind of a long little story. So obviously, I finished high school basketball here in South Caicos.
Mm-hmm.
We at the time, South was the dominant school, and I played a major role in that. So,
mean a dominant school in basketball?
In basketball.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I was obviously an elite player. With that, like I was telling you earlier, I had the opportunity to, kind of follow in my brother's footsteps to finish over in the Bahamas at Tabernacle High School, well-known school they produce many college athletes and so forth. But, that would have been me leaving high school here at fourth form, but that didn't work out. The next year, fifth form, had the opportunity again to go to a high school in the U.S. That again basically didn't work out. So, after finishing high school, it was like, that's it for basketball. At that time, that was basically it for basketball. So, kind of dreams.
So you felt
shallow, basically.
Oh, wow.
It was basically shallow. So, so after that, graduated high school, went on to the community college in Grand Turk. I just did 2 years there, no structured basketball or anything like that. And during that time, we had the last participation that the Turks and Caicos Islands had in the CBC, the Caribbean basketball thing. I was a part of that. One of the.
While you were in college?
At Grand Turk.
Mm-hmm.
So I was the youngest member on that team. So that's just like the national team. So we're playing against all the other Caribbean countries. So that was like the last organized basketball trip. That was the last actual trip that Turks and Caicos participated in such event until like maybe a year or so they had the under 15. So yeah, so finishing up my second and final year at the community college in Grand Turk. This opportunity came about. Was introduced to a coach over there in the Bahamas, Mr. Darryl Sears. So he's a coach at St. George's High School over there. That's another program that produces a lot of college kids as well.
Yeah, the Bahamas they have a lot of recruiting taking place in the Bahamas.
Yes. So yeah, so I just so happened I know that we were trying to put together a team to go to the event, but
The CDC event?
To the camp. He has a camp in the Bahamas.
Oh, okay.
So he has an annual camp where college coaches and so forth come down on an annual basis to see the Bahamian kids, basically. So we were trying to put together a team and so forth to go and participate in that. That basically didn't work out. So it just so happened.
A lot of things. So that's 3 occasions now.
So it kind of worked back around.
Oh, okay.
So basically, what happened was I don't know if you remember Mr. Tanker at the time.
Oh, yeah, there, of course, I remember Tanker.
Yeah, so he used to take a team to the Bahamas as well, just for tournament sakes. So it was more like fun and entertainment. And I would travel with him to the Bahamas on those trips. So just so happened we were in Abaco. We went to Abaco. So we were going to Abaco to play, and then later on to Freeport. But while we were in Abaco, playing in the tournament over there, having a good game and so forth, this guy, can't remember his name at the time, but he, saw me play and so forth, and he approached me after the game. He's like, "What college you play for?" I'm like, "College? I go to the community college in Grand Turk. We don't have no ball and so forth." You know what I mean? Like, he's like, he couldn't believe it. Like, he couldn't believe my
So he played.
Yeah. So he's like, "No, I mean, what college you play ball for?" I didn't know. I don't play ball in college. He said, "Now listen, there's a camp going on in Freeport," which I was aware of already. But he said, "There's a camp going on in Freeport. Make arrangements. I'm gonna fly you over to Freeport in the morning and bring you back to Abaco to finish the tournament and so forth." So I went over to Freeport that following morning, participated in the same camp that we were actually trying to go to. And once we came back later on, and coach called me with a scholarship offer.
Wow.
So that's how I basically got my initial scholarship. So,
Wow.
And that scholarship was basically to go to a junior college. So, because I had the ability and everything, but the know-how and learning the game and so forth, I kind of lacked. I had a Division I offer at the time as well, but it was recommended based on where I at from
Professional.
from that kind of structured play and so forth. Is recommended that you go to junior college first, learn the game, and then you transition on after that. So I ended up going to a school called Frank Phillips College. And
Where's that?
it's in Borger, Texas, in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it really didn't matter to me.
But it was an opportunity.
So,
It was an opportunity.
Wherever it was, I was going.
Yeah.
Right, so that's where I ended up. Spent 2 years there. So my first year, basically into really structured ball. Ability was there. My ability and talents and so forth, kind of outmatched basically everybody on the team. But the experience and so forth that they had, so it kind of took me a little time to kind of catch up and say per se. So when I initially got there, it was I can remember the team, because they only have limited full scholarships. So I was on a full scholarship at the time as an international student. And then we only had 3 returning players from the previous year. So, and those 3 were basically locked in. So they were really good players. They had a point guard, and we called it the 2 being players at the time. And so they were really good. And then we had, in total, that team was we started off with about over 20 guys. So, only you can suit out 12. So that experience it was an experience where you had to basically work your way to, get down to that in the top 12 basically. So if you're in the top 12, it's either your red shirt or you get caught or whatever the case might be. But it was rough, very rough at the beginning. I really thought about quitting
because it was a lot of work.
Yeah, it was nothing I was used to. I just used to, here I come on the court and go play and I dominate everybody. I don't even have to give that full effort or, based on my talent.
But it was more competitive.
Competition and so forth, right? So it was a little more competition, but like I say, and the training and so forth was new to me. And we had guys, like every week, we literally just had guys just disappearing and you don't see them no more.
They just quit.
Just quit. And to be honest, like I say, the coaches get to know me for that's the first time somebody literally screaming at me and so forth. And it's understanding it now is more where, they saw potential.
Yeah, they was pushing you to be the best, right. To do the best.
So yeah, I stuck with it because, one day I went back and I literally, it was one of the things that was said to me one time, it's like, the coach, he told me I'm basically wasting a scholarship. I'm wasting a scholarship because I'm on full scholarship and then you got guys there on partial and so forth. So it was one of those coaching tactics to, kind of get you to improve or whatever. But he told me I'm wasting a scholarship. And that did something to me. That really did. Because, I even had, once I finished Grand Turk at the time, I would have been able to get a government scholarship at the time. So I was like, I don't really need this and I ain't got to go through all of that. But then, I don't know, it's just one of the assistant coaches came to the dorm room later that, I don't know if he probably saw how I reacted to it or whatever the case might be. He's like, he came and told, don't let that bother you and there's no need to, get better or whatever the case might be. But I guess I stuck with it and had a good first year. So junior college would do 2 years and then move on to what Division I or 4-year school. So it just so happened now my second year. So after those 3 guys left, so coming back to my sophomore year, that would have really been a big year for me. Like things would have been centered around me as one of the focal points on that team. But that's where I got injured beginning of the season in training camp basically. So I injured my knee. So at the time it was a sprain. I had a sprained ACL, which ACL, if you take ACL, is a major league injury. So I had a sprain. So I kind of sat out the first half of the season, doing the rehab and so forth. But I was kind of placed in a situation where, so after your second year, it's time to move on. So it's you don't come back to junior year for junior college for a third year. So I was kind of placed with a tough decision. So it's either you play or you sit out. So if I sit out, based on my first year, I probably still get a scholarship, but it would be to kind of lower level school per se, maybe. Or do you come back and play, show coaches that you're healthy, and so forth, and they're trying to improve your stock per se. So I made the decision to go ahead and play. And then, after that, I was awarded a scholarship to, I had several different offers, but I decided to go to Texas Christian University, where I did another 2 years over there. But that knee injury, that basically, it stayed with me. So my junior year, I made it through the full season, and at the end of the year, I tore my meniscus and still had that lagging sprain in the ACL. So after my junior year, that's when I just did the surgery. So I probably should have done surgery further back, but like I say, because of that decision, it was delayed. So I played that whole year with that injury, did the surgery, and then still had to come back for my last final year. So even after the surgery, I still wasn't fully the same, but I barely kind of made it through my senior year. I started off fresh, but real good games, but eventually that injury kicked back in. And for the rest of the way, I barely made it through my last senior year. And then after finishing, I did surgeries again, but still looking for the
Yeah. But based on I'm sorry you entered that. Based on your playing, though, I understand you were very, very good, and you almost probably would have made it if you didn't have.
All right, so I mean, well, the NBA is a whole lot of animals. So to sit here and say that I definitely would have made it to the NBA it definitely wasn't a guarantee. But and then the way the game was played at that time, it was a lot tougher because of.
It's tougher? Oh yeah.
At the time, so because of like for me myself, so at 6'8", that's like the average height of an NBA player.
Oh really?
Yeah, 6'8" is like the average height. So guys kind of so I was kind of stuck between positions per se. So I were battling with guys 7 feet and 6'11" and so forth. But now, like guys my height, they're using that the NBA more transition to like a small ball per se. So my guys now, I mean, people my height now, they are loving their size. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's much easier with this kind of height at this stage. So and then my skill set would suit today's game rather than it was back then, banging out with 7-footers and so you automatically at a disadvantage.
Right.
So
okay, so what learning experience or what advice would you give to people now trying to pursue professional sports and whatever? Of course, you can control what happened to your knee, but you had a lot of potential. What advice would you give? Because you can avoid that, right? Because
injuries is a part of it.
Yeah,
And then I mean, even now there's more like ACL injury. Like back then, at the time, sometimes ACL injury, it was basically your career is done.
Yeah.
And now you have an ACL injury. It used to be a year repair. Now you got guys coming back.
Okay.
6 to 8 months and so forth.
Okay.
So with the technology and medical advancements, it's way much better now in terms of recovery.
Right. So what advice do you give to the young people out there who wants to pursue basketball as a career profession?
So, I mean, with basketball, obviously, you got to be blessed with some God-given ability. But, you still have persons who you got to work. Yeah. So you definitely got to put in the work. And, for me, at the time, even though I was talented, I mean, certain skills I developed, that was, I can remember just being, as a kid, being at home. I have a front porch and a back porch. Sometimes I at home, I take my ball, I go, when the sun is hot, if the sun hot in the front, I go in the back, and I just dribble it up and down, the porch up and down. That helped me with my ball handling and so forth. And
so a lot of practice there.
A lot of practice. You gotta put in the work.
Yeah, and it's a big thing in some cases.
Yeah, so it was a thing to do. So after school is out, you go home, eat your food or whatever, and straight to the court.
Yeah, I was very young.
Like at the time, it was just learning from all the players who really didn't experience no college level or the coaching level. So you're just picking up what you learn there. But in terms of structured coaching and so forth, that was a and somewhat today is still a kind of major issue. Yeah. So you just got to put in the work.
Right. Like everything else. Absolutely.
The more you do it, the better you get.
Absolutely. And tell us again some of the people that you played opposite to and who ended up going into the NBA.
Yeah, so most notably would be Blake Griffin.
Blake Griffin, okay.
Yeah, so at the time we played against, he was at University of Oklahoma. We played I think it was my junior year. And the following year, he was a one and done. So he was the number one pick of, it was like the 2009 NBA draft. Yeah. Okay. So he played Griffin. There are guys like DJ Augustine, he played at the University of Texas. This guy, Joel Anthony, he was undrafted, played at UNLV. He ended up with the Miami Heat. He was on the championship team. The guy, Jason Smith, he was in the NBA for a bit. But then those are the main guys from the NBA, but then we have a ton of them, play overseas and so forth as well.
So what are you doing now? I mean, I know you work at First Caribbean Bank, which you mentioned introduction, but I also know you're involved in the community in basketball somehow. I mean, tell us about that.
Yes, so right now I am currently coaching the Wesley Methodist high school basketball team. So we just finished up the regular season. We went 5-1. So we in the next 2 weeks or so we are playing the semifinal round against Brenter, and then with the hopes of advancing to the championship game. Okay. Also, participated in the youth league that they had, the police action league, where they had on an annual basis. I help coach out in that area as well.
Okay. Well, thank you for your contribution to the community. I think more people need to do that. So are there, I know the Bahamas, as we mentioned earlier, has a lot of people out there that come to the Bahamas, look for potential basketball players. They recruit a lot. They have quite a few people from the Bahamas in the NBA. I know it's been a long time since you were there, but do we have people coming to Turks and Caicos, recruiting people to go into professional basketball, or they have to go to the Bahamas or go to the US?
I mean, we have people coming, but it's not on the level as the Bahamas.
Yeah, okay.
Like last year, like one of my former teammates, he was just here. They had a tournament, Marvin Forbes annual tournament.
Yes.
He was here last year doing some studying and so forth. Because he's a head coach at a NAIA school, so it's a lower level than the NCAA. So he was here. And some other coaches were here as well. So over the years you've had some guys leaving, early enough to finish high school over in the States and so forth. So it's not on that level, and per se, like really and truly, because those coaches and so forth, they have budgets. So unless you have like a real high-profile player. So at the time when I went to the Bahamas, there was this guy, Magnum Roll. So he actually ended up in the NBA for a bit as well. So, but he was like the main catch for that. So he kind of attracted a lot of the coaches. So depending on the level, so you're gonna spend you have a budget. So unless you have a high-profile kid where somebody gonna spend that kind of money to come in to see potentially one kid, versus you can just visit, you can drive half an hour to see so many kids in one campus.
So do you recommend then that those persons that are interested in pursuing professional basketball perhaps should go to another, like the Bahamas or the US?
Oh, definitely.
You recommend that?
Yeah, definitely, because like I said, you not like here. Coaching is a profession. So right here, right now,
it's just volunteer.
I'm coaching. I said, man, I have a full-time job. So if I finish work late one day and I ain't got the energy, I can't make it. I can just I can't get fired if I don't show up to practice or call off practice or whatever the case might be. I have something to deal with at home or whatever the case might be. Something happening and I want to go to that event or whatever the case might be. I'm volunteering, like, hey, I don't have to do this.
That's a good
I'm
point.
practicing today and so forth like that. So, it's volunteering. So, and then the time, like for me, I basically only, got to practice maybe once or twice a week. And that is nearly not enough.
Yeah.
So
in other countries, that's a full-time paid job.
So it's a structured. You have an actual program that is going on. So you get into those kind of programs. You have your school, you have your basketball, and you prepare for both. So definitely, as it is now, hopefully that changes later on.
Well, I hope it does. I think it's
as it is now. I mean, especially if you're thinking of going professional. So the faster you get out of it, the better for you.
I think it's something we need to really look into, make that encourage more coaches to be full-time, to be a full-time job. It will help, with more training of our young people, and that will benefit. Now, speaking about our young people, we know there's a lot of crimes taking place. We see a lot of young people getting killed, being murdered. We see a lot of young people involved in crimes. What do you think are some of the things we need to do to alleviate the situation that we're facing with our young people? They joining gangs. But what do you think some things we should do as a community?
Yeah, well, you have the mentor programs and so forth. So, I mean, it's just so surprising because when we, in dealing with, the high school stuff and so forth, I know the coaches, they hold their players and so forth accountable. That's a good number of kids you're dealing with, all with, the police action league, and you're reaching out to a lot of young kids, but I don't know where the other ones are, why they're not coming or whatever the case might be, because just seeing some kids, for instance, I had a kid about 2 years ago or so, and just I pulled him out of the game because he was, giving lackadaisical effort. I pulled him out of the game, I saw his attitude and so forth, and I pulled him out, and I sit him down, I say, when you're ready to play or whatever the case might be, he was a good player. I sat him down and I sit him for the rest of the game. I almost ended up losing the game, but I wanted to teach him a lesson. And I didn't even say anything. I told him after the game, I say, you will never play for me again unless you change or whatever. That was it. That was the end of the conversation. And he came back the following day or later on that evening. He came and he apologized.
That's good.
So it was just I laughed in my head because I wasn't expecting him to. I just expected him to just come back and probably do the thing or whatever. But he came back, acknowledged. He saw where he went wrong or whatever, and it changed. So just those little small things, those kind of conversations and stuff. But where these kids are, you got to get to them. Wherever they are, you got to get to them, have the conversation. And it just might take one simple conversation to, kind of change the right person having the conversation, showing interest in somebody. That can change a whole lot.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
A mentorship and that one-to-one relationship with
Yeah.
And that's why really some of them are attracted to gangs, because the gangs are showing them attention.
As well, yeah.
Showing them attention.
Just you have positive people showing interest.
Yeah.
You have the other side doing the same thing.
You're absolutely right.
Who reach them or who's more convincing kind of wins.
Yeah. So what are your plans now? I mean, you got your job at the bank, you're coaching. Anything else you have for you in the making, the future?
Yeah, well, I just trying to, I actually had some meetings yesterday, because I'm part of the Basketball Federation as well.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, so I, kind of expressed my interest in, trying to get more involved, where I can put in some more time coaching and so forth. But,
Okay.
outside of that, you worked on some stuff for me recently, so possibly trying to,
Right.
get some buildings going and
Good.
take piece of the real estate market.
That's it.
So
Yeah. And how's your knee?
it's for everyday life, fine, but in terms of playing and so forth, I still haven't handled it that way.
Oh, okay. All right. Do you have any closing remarks?
Just want to say, to all the kids and so forth out there who's aspiring to, chase basketball and so forth, like I say, just continue putting in the work. I mean, if you're going to college, you're a student athlete, so obviously, student comes first, so you have to make the grade. Put in the work, and if you need anything from me, advice, experience, whatever it may be, available and willing.
Well, thank you, Alvardo. I appreciate the opportunity. For those of you watching the show, thank you for watching the show. And one thing I could learn from this interview with Alvardo is not to give up. And because he went to college in Grand Turk Community College, it looked dim for him, playing basketball. somehow he ended up in the Bahamas, and someone noticed him, and he got an opportunity to go to the university and junior college in Texas. And despite, you know, the culture shock and the treatment, I think he wanted to give up, but he didn't give up. And I encourage you not to give up, no matter which stage of the game you are in, stage of your life that you're in, not to give up. If this is something that you want, whatever you want to pursue, whether it's basketball, whatever it is, don't ever give up. Sometimes things do not come as easy as you think they would like it to be easy. You're going to go through some rough patches, some rough things in life. But sometimes those rough things will help propel you to become better in what you are. And that's what Alvardo's coach was trying to do with him, to push him to become the best. And you too can experience the same thing and become the best. So thank you for watching the Jacksonville Senior Show.